Manny and Baby Boo strolled through the department store. How many things there were to buy
Or steal if I was writing this book.
or steal if I was writing this book.
What on earth is that from?
Oh my god.
What is that from?
Oh my gosh, dude.
What is that?
It's from the 1994 classic Baby's Day Out, written by the late John Hughes.
You guys love that movie for some reason. You, Katie, and Mom love that movie. And
I
don't get
didn't
it.
know that was a John Hughes movie.
He wrote that before his untimely passing away.
Oh,
That was
man.
all him, dude.
What a random quote. How come you're looking for inspiration and you're like, oh, I got it.
You know what would go great right now? Wow.
I need to show it to my kids. Haven't seen that yet. They probably love
It's
the
really
crap
not
out of
that
that
great a
movie.
movie.
What are you talking? That movie is Looney Tunes live action. That's really what it
really
is.
It
is.
I did not enjoy that movie. Anyways, we are live. Bump that, episode 31. If you are just now tuning in, welcome. Welcome back to yet another episode of Bump That, the show that won't sell you car insurance. These are your hosts. I am Ileana. We have KT over there.
Yay.
We
Forgive
have
me, I'm
Brian.
a little sick today.
Really
We've got Brian over here.
Really
And we are siblings who enjoy nerding out and decided to broadcast it. And here you are listening. So let's jump straight into some news. Katie, Brian,
Dun, dun, dun.
there are some suing going on. There's some serious suing going on.
Suing.
Yeah.
Disney is in some hot water with two movies, two actresses.
Oof.
Scarlett Johansson and Emma Stone are suing Disney.
Yikes.
Yes, about the way that their movies were released. Black Widow and Cruella. Apparently, they were. I'm gonna get this wrong. Help me out on this one, Brian. You might know a little bit more.
So apparently, the release strategy for these films was they had a theatrical release, but they also had the premium access deal through Disney Plus, Disney's streaming service. So if you paid $30 through Disney Plus, you got to watch the films in the comfort of your own home. Mm-hmm. So the problem is these actresses, or so they say in their lawsuit, that baked into their contracts when they signed up to do these films with Disney, is that a lot of their salaries would be dependent on how much these films make theatrically. So if Black Widow or Cruella, they were supposed to make, $300 million at the box office, say
Yeah.
that they have 10% of the box office quote, that's $30 million that Scarlett Johansson or, Emma Stone are supposed to get. Well, that's Black Widow opening weekend through Disney Plus, that's $60 million that went through Disney Plus. So that's $60 million. So that's pretty much if you do the math, that's $6 million that's not going to these actresses' pockets. Mm-hmm. So they're looking to sue Disney like, hey, this is breach of contract. You guys, the release strategy was that this was going to be all theatrical, so I think nobody could have realized that how much money it was going to make through Disney Plus. They thought
Right.
that it was going to make the ton of money there. So it's just crazy because especially Scarlett Johansson, who's been with Marvel for so long now, over 10 years, Marvel is a Disney property. She's been making these films for so long, and now she's not suing Marvel. Mm-hmm. She has no gripe with Marvel, but really it's just with Disney and their release strategy for these films.
Right.
Even Marvel had Kevin Feige, the guy who's the creative director of Marvel and how these films are artistically made. Even he was upset with how this deal pans out. So it's going to be fascinating to see how this. I mean, at the end of the day, Disney's going to try to make as most money as they can. They're a huge conglomerate. So are they going to are they going to do these kind of deals again with big actors like Scarlett Johansson who command, big salaries? It's interesting.
And allegedly, I read this today. Allegedly, Emily Blunt is threatening. She's threatening to sue Disney for the same reason. Sort of jump on that bandwagon for Jungle Cruise with Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
Now that movie, as of right now, has not come out, but
It's releasing this weekend. So
yes, and so projections show that this weekend is going to make about 25 million. I don't think that movie's going to do very well at all.
No, I don't think so at all.
Whether it's
That's too
on a theatrical,
bad.
whether it's a theatrical release or on Disney Plus. I think it is just a theatrical release, but nonetheless, I don't think it's going to do well. But I read somewhere that Emily Blunt might join that bandwagon.
Well, and then here's the other gripe that some people, I'm playing, I guess, like a devil's advocate, perhaps, where is this just rich people complaining about not getting richer?
that is a good point. I mean, back in the day, I remember like the actors used to make these kind of deals all the time. Like famously, Jack Nicholson, when he did the Joker, he's like, I get 10% of the, you pay me $50,000 just to do the job right now. But at the end of the day, for Batman, for the Joker, I want 10% of the final gross. So that movie made, like, back then, $400 million. So he made $40 million. So back then, that was a ton of money.
Right.
And so if you were doing a film like that, it's like, exactly, this is huge. This is great. $40 million in my pocket. Robert Downey Jr., it's the same deal. When he did the whole, like, Endgame, Infinity War, all that, it was like, don't give me the upfront. I want a percentage of the grosses. So with all that, those movies made $1 billion. RDJ 3 made $100 million. So that's kind of the money that ScarJo and Emma Stone and these cats are looking to get, because I mean, that's what's happened that's historically what's happened in the past. But with trying to, bump up Disney Plus, all of a sudden it's like, it's kind of a loophole that they got away with. Disney Plus said.
That'll be interesting to see how that outcome turns out.
Absolutely.
So we'll keep you updated whenever we get some results on if the sue goes through, who's going to get the money, And next on our list, we're talking Bob's Burgers. Katie, what's up there?
Bob's Burgers. I feel like I have to sneeze, but it's not coming. So if I sneeze,
Thanks
sorry.
for that update.
Yes. So anyways, Bob's Burgers is a show on Fox, and there is a movie coming out. It was actually slated to come out in 2020, but of course we know it happened. But that sort of was a good and bad thing. That allows the 20th century television animation to work on it a little bit more, refine it. And there is a quote by series creator Lauren, I'm going to butcher this name, Bouchard, saying, "We still don't have a date, but I do, of course, want to tell fans we're working on it. My every waking moment is spent on this movie, and it's coming. They have to put it out." And so I am, as a fan, I am really looking forward to this movie. And on top of that, I think it's going to do, this is just speculation, but I think it's going to do pretty well. Maybe not as well as the Simpsons movie. The Simpsons had a lot of history and probably a lot more fans when the Simpsons movie came out, but I think that this movie's going to go, pretty well, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, best wishes to those people.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds like they're really working hard on it. They're like, we gotta get this movie out. Probably behind the scenes, they're all running around and freaking out.
Yeah. Next up, we have Valve's Steam Deck. So, we were talking a little bit about the content today, and you guys said that you don't know what the Steam Deck is.
No.
Okay, so do you guys know what Steam is?
Yes.
It's when air is heated up.
Oh,
my
he's done.
lordy
And he's
Lou.
done. Steam
All right,
is
so
a gaming distributor for on PC gaming.
Yes, it is. It is PC gaming. It's basically a like a platform where you can download
And buy. You buy.
Yeah, download and buy a whole lot of games online. And so what they've done is they have created a handheld device that is similar to the Nintendo Switch, and you can take these games that you've downloaded online and play them portably.
Ooh.
Yes, and so a lot of people
Wowie, wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
what
and
a dork.
I know. A lot of people have been saying that, it's the competition to the Nintendo Switch in terms of portability, and it's basically a little computer.
But that can't be true, KT. Competition for the Switch? No way.
What a butt.
I mean, right now, PlayStation isn't being a lot of competition for the Switch. I mean, just saying. We're going to talk about that later.
But for handheld, I mean, there's not really a competition.
There really is no competition.
You had,
and
what
so-
was it, the Stadia? Was that handheld?
Stadia was not handheld.
I thought Stadia was handheld.
No, it was on your TV without
Well,
a dock or.
I
without
guess
a
Nintendo
console.
has nothing to worry about then.
They
Well,
really don't. They,
No, if that like ends up being cool, the Steam Valve whatever thing, if that ends up being, it actually works, that'd be pretty cool because you could get a humongous library
But-
of games.
yeah,
But Katie,
it's
you
oh my
said it's
gosh.
set up launch for pre-order. What's the cost of ordering one right now?
I actually don't know. I think it's like $400.
How obnoxious you are!
$400? Well,
Let
gee,
me-
Katie, that seems like a lot of money, especially when you can buy a Nintendo Switch for, what, $299?
That's true. That is true.
So I guess Nintendo doesn't have to worry because they got the competition and the market price beat, right?
Hey, you can get that Switch OLED for $350.
You can. Okay, let's see what the price is going for. Oh my god, why is I googled Steam Deck and I'm getting like
Boats.
what is this?
You're gonna get Steamboat Willie. So it's literally called like Steam Valve.
It is the
Valve?
Valve Steam Deck.
Valve
What
Steam
the-
Deck. That sounds
Yeah.
kind of lame. I'm not gonna lie. Like
Okay,
otherwise-
so you can get it for $400, but there are models that go as far as like $550.
Oh my god.
So that
Goodness.
must have to deal, since it's a mini computer essentially. It must have to do with memory. I would think that would have to do with memory.
Well, you're gonna be downloading some pretty intense games. Like you can,
yeah.
literally you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
download so many games. on
Assassin's
Steam.
Creed.
Centipede.
Okay.
Hey, I have Uno on.
But
Steam.
if you guys Google it, it actually looks really weird. It looks like a Game Gear. If you know what a Game Gear looks like from the 90s. It's a strange setup the way they have it. A little contentious, but we'll see. We'll see how that does. It releases in December, but pre-orders have. In fact, a friend of mine was buying one when it opened up for pre-orders, and Steam actually shut down. The
Oh.
servers shut down because so many people were trying to buy it.
Wow,
So-
it's that popular?
I haven't even heard a single person talk about this. How the heck is it
Yeah.
being shut down? What?
Well, we don't do a lot of PC playing, so
Well, I watch gamers on YouTube and Twitch, and I've never heard them talk. Oh yeah, I'm getting the Valve.
yeah. Well, I
Who
don't
wants
know.
to say that either? I'm getting a Valve.
Getting the Valve? It's
A
You
heart
get the Valve?
valve?
Yeah,
you
that's all.
poor dear.
That's all that I'm
oh
thinking
my
about.
lord.
is
Brian
like,
is being salty with me because of what we're gonna talk about next.
bring it
So
up.
good and bad. The PlayStation 5 recently broke selling 10 million units. Which
Wow! Whoa! That's
Sure.
a lot of PlayStation 5s, bro.
Yeah, I agree. It's been out for not even a year. And so that's really good.
10 million. Dang.
Yeah, and so the question is, why are first-party games not performing well? For example, Ratchet and Clank came out a couple months ago, and it's only broken 1.1 million units.
I wish everybody could see the way Brian is flopped over right
He
now. It's just
is
like,
so done with me allegedly dunking on PlayStation, but I'm not dunking on them. I'm not. I promise I'm not dunking on
You
PlayStation.
are, because you're just looking to nitpick over what? Because they've only sold 1.5 million units of the game? Dude, give it some time, man.
You have 10 million units sold.
Dude,
but
people
your
are still...
first-party games are underperforming. In fact, okay, since you want to go there,
1.5 million?
1.1 million.
Over a month or two of it being released? A million. That means it's a platinum selling game. That's that's a lot of copies.
So
That is, and I'm not dunking on that. I'm just saying it seems like...
in comparison, I'm going to bring up these numbers. Nearly
Okay.
3 million console units were shipped in the first month of the Nintendo Switch's life, exceeding Nintendo's initial projection of 2 million, and within a year of release, achieved over 14 million units sold. So, you know, Nintendo Switch has got 4 million units over the PlayStation. That's not bad. PlayStation's doing good, and also the fact that they had such issues with getting them produced faster,
Yes.
and getting them into people's pockets, I think that's pretty good.
There's a shortage of them. They're hard to get. I'm actually looking at maybe invest in one.
Well, you've also got
good for you.
You've
I'm
got
looking
scalpers to
I'm
take
looking
into.
probably looking at getting one soon, and plus, it's a lot more expensive than a
Right.
Switch. You know.
So I think those
So-
numbers are good. However, I will have a gripe with the lack of first party games.
And it's not even just a lack. They as of today or yesterday, they announced that for Horizon Forbidden West is,
Yeah.
and
You know what?
pushed
When
back.
it comes out, you're gonna be like, "Oh, thank you."
Yes, because
so
I love
good.
Horizon Zero
What
Dawn.
a sweet game!
I
You were so worth the
love
wait
Horizon
because the
Zero Dawn.
graphics
Yes.
are la 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 so
Oh
yummy.
my lord!
But it is something to say that when they did announce the PlayStation, there weren't very many games to get on it initially. So that is a problem with the whole bringing up a new console.
And
what are you
all
gonna
right,
play on it?
Seriously, in all seriousness, this has always been an issue at PlayStation for every release they've had. Every single new system release, there's always been like, well, where's the games?
Yeah.
You know, but then after a while, you have these amazing AAA quality games that come out, and after that, after you play them, and these games are worth 100 hours of playtime, you're like, oh my gosh, why am I even complaining about here?
And that's good.
So,
That's good. I'm glad they have, that reputation. I just wish it wasn't so lacking.
Well,
And
I wish that they wouldn't get our hopes up with a lot of these games, such as God of War Ragnarok.
Such as Donkey Kong 30th anniversary.
Oh my gosh! But
Such as-
no. So that is wishful thinking. Donkey Kong is wishful thinking. We have seen a little bit of God of War Ragnarok. It's been teased, and so it's like, well, where is it? We've seen a little bit of gameplay for Horizon Forbidden West. Where is it? Why is it being pushed back so far? Like now, and
it's not only PlayStation that has this problem.
It's not only PlayStation.
Nintendo has the same issue, and
absolutely. And it's like it's like a not a company thing. It is a it's just a gaming thing.
Yeah,
And it happens.
so
it just
this
happens.
this is my take on it again, and I feel like this is my whole view on what PlayStation Sony did with PS5. I feel like at the end of the day, they still released it way too early. PlayStation 5 was
Yeah.
released way
agree.
too early. Even if it's selling 10 million, units, that's great and all. But I feel like this console was so rushed out. Especially
And-
when the PlayStation 4 and the 4 Pro are still getting mad use.
Exactly.
Mad
Exactly.
use.
That's
So
how-
it's like, it's as a consumer, you're like, well, why don't you wait? Because the demand is going to be, you're going to sell 10 million units easily. So why don't you wait till everything's ready to go? Everything's perfect. This thing is, just keep it in the oven just a little bit more, and then you have all the games too, so that when that console is released, you're having not just 12 games. You have, more than 25. You have more than 25 games for a consumer to be like, okay, this one, this one, this one, this one,
Or
this one, this is where I'm
even
gonna go.
what I think they should have done, just my opinion, they should have waited for Rockstar to release Grand Theft Auto 6.
That
should
could be
have
another
waited-
3 years. That could be
But
another
that
3
I don't
years for
understand
that.
why. I don't understand why, but that's not neither here nor there.
That's
And
a
I
whole.
know-
That could be a whole different story.
And
So yeah,
it's another
Yeah.
thing to say that, okay, I've got the more numbers from Ileana, where this Nintendo Switch it came out 2017?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so it's been alive for 4 years now, almost. That they have 84.59 million consoles sold as of, recent numbers. So 84 in 4 years. That's pretty dang good. I don't know about, PlayStation's
that's the
history
top
with-
5. That Switch is top 5 all
I
time.
don't know PlayStation's history with the PlayStation 4, but when they keep getting
They're
numbers,
top 5 too. Yeah.
if you kept getting numbers like that and you guys are going neck and neck all the time, and okay, we've got 14 million sold for the Nintendo Switch in the first year, and PlayStation has 10 million sold in almost their first year, they're doing pretty good, and the life is going to keep going. They're going to keep hitting those numbers. People want to get the new console. If you keep pumping out games, you're going to get it. Why make a new console to begin with if people are still buying it? So I'm thinking what you're saying about them making the PlayStation 5 a little early, releasing it early is,
And
it's
we
wishful
could really
thinking, like with people wanting a new Switch or a new Nintendo console. It's like, no, it's still going. You don't need a new one yet. People are still buying them, and it's still a good console. Sure, technology is going to keep, increasing and getting better and whatever, and you want new. But if it ain't broke,
And one thing quick, and it is a money thing, because at the end of the day, Sony takes the loss on the consoles for making them and shipping them. They take a loss. How they make their money is through the software, through the games and everything.
yeah.
So maybe that's their whole marketing plan is we get these out as early as possible, get them in the hands of people, and then at the end of the day, once these games are released, they're gonna buy them.
Well,
And that's where we're gonna make
here's
the
the
money.
only issue for this, and we got to move on after this. My opinion, and it's not just my opinion. I've seen this conversation on the internet, is that you have all these scalpers that will buy as many PS5s as they can get their hands on and raise the price, but nobody's buying them. Nobody was planning on buying them at that price now, especially when there are no games. So what happens is you have these people that are sitting in a room filled with PS5s, nobody's buying them, and that's why the games are suffering, because they're putting out these games, but nobody actually has the ability to play them. And we could go on this topic forever. We could have a whole
The
episode
fight
just on
between
this.
PlayStation and Nintendo.
Well, and it's not. It's
continues.
that. It's not that. It's the fight between the consumer and these companies.
The
that are
industry.
putting-
Yeah.
the industry, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it all boils down to. But that whole conversation is for another day. In lighter news, I just saw this, and I just wanted to touch on it. Very
Breaking
briefly.
news.
Yes. Okay. So the trailer for Jackass Forever came
Oh
out
yeah, I
last
saw
week.
that. Yeah, it's great.
So
man.
good. I am going to go
Oh,
see that with
baby.
Wesley date night. It's gonna be epic.
Oh boy.
It's gonna be epic. It'll be a little bit sad without Dun there, but I think it's gonna be a great reunion, really.
Dude,
with
Bam's
Steve-O.
not even there, bro.
Well, Bam is a little crazy, so he needs to rethink his life a little bit. He needs to do what Steve-O did and go to rehab for a bit and straighten some things out. So, but everybody looks good. Johnny Knoxville is very white-haired.
Cool.
That is one cool
dude.
guy.
He is
very
so cool. He is
Like, I want to
gnarly,
hang with
dude.
Johnny Knoxville.
Oh, yes.
So, just wanted to throw that out there. My mom is probably going to be like, I'm so disappointed in you.
Oh my goodness. Forget about it.
Mom, watch an episode, watching one of the movies, and you'll be like,
No.
wow.
Run away.
And
Run
that
away.
covers the news. On to our individual segments. My segment will be short. I'm going to discuss a show on Netflix that I watched recently that goes over how, movies shaped us and what types of movies are the ones that shaped us. Specifically, the episodes that air on the show called The Movies That Made Us are Back to the Future, Forrest Gump, Jurassic Park, Pretty Woman, and I can't remember the other one that they have an episode on. But they go over the history of how these films were in production and the people behind them. And it is super fascinating. I took a class on this in college of, visual effects and movie making and all that. And it was so fascinating just to, be back in, one of my college classes almost and seeing this documentary of history of, these people behind movies that, really made, U.S. movie making what it is today. And I just being back in that type of seat was really fascinating to me and nostalgic, and I just love seeing how these films that are so iconic come into production, because making a movie is not easy. It's not just snap your fingers, boom, there it is. There are a lot of jumps that you have to go through, hoops to get through to make these movies, and just to see that in a documentary fashion was very interesting. So go check it out. It's on Netflix, called The Movies That Made Us. All right. Sweet thing.
Nice. It's the sweet thing, guys. Okay, so I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit here. So this past weekend, I went and visited some old friends in Atlanta, and I went to a place called the Saint-Germain Bakery. And they had a lot of interesting pastries there, a lot of French pastries. I don't have any with me right now because we're recording a little bit later in the week, but I'm gonna go back there. But I wanna talk about a lot of the pastries that were there. They had so many macarons, it was crazy. They had these tarts that were just exquisitely made, and I actually ended up walking out with 2 different desserts, and they were both very good. So hopefully I'll get to go back there sometime, but that was Saint-Germain in Atlanta. But for today, I went back to the Alpha Euro Grill in Gainesville. Everybody knows that I love the Greek restaurant here in Gainesville. And today I have a giant eclair. This is half of the eclair. I don't know, Brian and Ileana can see this. This thing is huge.
Mm-hmm.
I broke it in half, and it's oozing with a lot of cream. It's got some sprinkles on it. Let's see what we've got going on. Mm-hmm.
Goodness.
I need some milk. I need some milk and a napkin. Yeah. I'm disgusting now. That is an eclair. Woo!
Creamy.
So, once again, that is the Alpha Euro Grill in Gainesville. This is like my 3rd dessert from there. They're so good. They never let me down. Like I said, hopefully I'll be able to go back to Saint Germain in Atlanta. But that is the sweet thing. Eat local. Brian, what you got?
Well, to jump on the bandwagon of sweet things,
Yeah.
I'm going to eat some ice cream.
Yeah,
This isn't just any ice cream. I'm hawking Rebel ice cream. Hashtag not a sponsor, maybe one day. But this ice cream is not just regular ice cream. It's like a protein-infused ice cream that they make. 7 grams net carbs per pint. It's delicious. I had this one. I think I'm the only person in the world that loves banana ice cream.
Oh, no. I'm right there
No
with
way,
you.
man.
Banana ice cream.
Banana
love banana
ice
ice
cream
cream.
is like, I just don't know why they don't just make more banana ice cream in the world.
It's so good.
Anyways, this one is banana peanut butter chip. It's really good banana ice cream. And then there's like these chunks of like serious like peanut butter, like hardcore Skippy, you know?
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Eat that
dang.
ice cream.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Finish the first
Get
bite.
it, boy.
Oh, so good. So cold.
My.
And you got that
Oh.
nice fresh banana ice cream. So clean,
Does it
so
have
good.
any? Does it have any banana like chunks in it, or is it
I
just
wish.
banana ice cream?
I
Okay.
wish, man. I feel like I would slice up some bananas just to put it just in there myself.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
But
I love bananas.
Rebel, Joanna gets these like at Walmart. I like them because they're low on the sugar, because I don't need to eat too much sugar and
Is
high.
that what that says? 7 grams of sugar.
7 grams net carbs per pint.
Oh,
So that's-
carbs. Okay.
I'm all about the watching the carbs and the sugars, and this has a lot of protein. 280 calories for half the pint, so it's not that bad. Rebel ice cream, go get some. Yeah.
Yay.
All right, I gotta put this away
Dessert.
before it melts. Go ahead and start off the thing.
Yeah, and now we are into the meat and potatoes of the
meat
podcast.
and potatoes.
We are talking toxic fandoms.
Guys, are you a
Ooh.
part of a fandom?
Are you toxic?
Do you need to ask yourself, am I toxic?
Are you toxic?
So, in this conversation,
Are you toxic? Be honest.
look, in some things, I am toxic. I really am.
I'm asking our listeners. Are you
Oh,
toxic?
I will start the conversation for the fans, for the listeners. In some things, yes, I too am toxic in some ways. We were talking about Avatar, The Last Airbender, and how, there really isn't as huge of a following as, say, Star Wars or
Marvel
Lord of the
films.
Rings, Marvel comics, but the fans that do like Avatar, could they be considered toxic? What makes them toxic? And it's not just Avatar.
What makes a fandom toxic, basically, is what the question needs to be asked.
Yeah, exactly. And a good example of this, just to start out the conversation, is a little indie game called Undertale.
Oh boy.
Undertale came out, I think, in 2015.
Yep.
You can fact check me
It
in
is.
in the comments. And I played Undertale. I love Undertale. I didn't play it right away when it came out, but I waited maybe a year and I played it, and it was a lot of fun. It's one of those games that makes you think a little bit. It's got a few outcomes. What you do in the game determines the outcome of the game. And so a lot of people, especially young kids, they got on board with Undertale, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Sans is life." And
Yeah, they
you
really
couldn't-
got onto those characters. It usually fandoms start to get toxic over either creators, artwork, or characters. And I think characters is the number one thing. Whenever they find a character that they resonate with, that they like, that they think is cool. And Sans and Papyrus were those characters, especially Sans.
that and Undyne as well,
Right.
because she was this cool, rebellious, funny character. And then there was also the dinosaur chick. I can't remember her name now. Alphys, yeah. That she was into anime and ramen and was very
and so like those
reclusive
people, those played that game felt very invited. They felt like, oh, these are my people, and they're just characters. They're just game characters that have this type of personality. They're like, oh yes, I relate to that type of thing, but they take it a step too far of just likability. Like, oh yeah, I like those characters too. I played the game. It was a fun time. However, these people who are, quote unquote toxic take it too far.
Whether it's with fan art or just being straight up nasty on places like Reddit,
In comments,
where it's
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, you don't like Alphys and Undyne, you must be, one of those people, a bigot, because of, how they are. And that's where things get soured, in my opinion.
Where people don't want to play the game or enjoy it because they're like, I don't want to be one of those people because their fandom is toxic. So I don't want to play the game.
And same thing with things like Naruto. Oh my.
You don't want to be called a weeb.
You don't want to be called a weeb, but at the same time, you can't help but cringe at those prepubescent boys that are literally Naruto running in the cafeteria.
Right. Bringing their headbands to school.
Exactly, but you can't call them out because then suddenly that's hate speech.
Right.
So.
And it's like, they're enjoying something and they're not usually, like, those people aren't hurting anybody. It's the people who become hurtful, like with the Sans Undyne thing. If they're like, oh, you don't like this character? Well, you're just evil and I hate you, and use, worse language than what I'm spelling. And, basically chastise these people or kick them out. And they say, oh, you're not a real fan because you don't like this aspect of a game. And they just take it to that whole other level. And it doesn't even have to be that. It's like Harry Potter. Same thing. Oh, you don't know the houses? You don't know what happens? You didn't read the books? Oh, well, you're a fake fan. It's like, I enjoyed the movies.
And then
Poser.
Yeah, poser.
Yeah, and then you take it a step further where it's like, okay, suddenly the creators of the original content are going in a different direction with their creation. It is their baby, and they've decided. I'll use Avatar as an example. When they went from Avatar: The Last Airbender to Korra, Legend of Korra, they went in a brand new direction, and suddenly it was like, oh, this is not like the original. This is not my Avatar. Mm-hmm. And suddenly, there are pitchforks and fires, and everybody's like, not my Avatar, not my Avatar. And we've talked about this. We've talked about Korra before, but, it's the same idea. If the new Lord of the Rings show comes on, what is it? Is it Amazon?
Yes.
Or is it Netflix? Yeah. When that show comes out, people are already all up in arms, like, if this is not true to the original, like, Tolkien-esque Peter Jackson vision of Lord of the Rings, there's gonna be huge fires to be put out. The internet is going to become enraged. And the three of us have already been guilty of this with the new Powerpuff Girls live action show. We saw the pictures that were coming out of, the live action show, and we were already like, nope, not my Bubbles, not my Blossom or Buttercup.
Actually, I want to go on record. That was Ileana, not me. Thank you.
Not my Powerpuff Girls.
Not my Powerpuff Girls. Not my professor.
And I wouldn't say that's, toxic, so to speak. I would say toxic is like going so far as to be like, I'm never going to watch it because it's just not mine. And, it's not like the original and I already hate it completely.
Just got to give it a chance, man. Give the world a chance.
And you can be critical. There is criticism. That is fine. That is completely valid. Mm-hmm. You can have an opinion. But when you take that opinion and you put it on other people, or you make it such a big deal where, it's not even enjoyable anymore. You're just ruining the fun for everybody else. Like, people with, say, Smash Brothers, and each character that's announced that they're like, oh, I absolutely hate this, or people that love it, they're like, oh, this is so good, and if you hate it, you're wrong, and I hope you die. And it's like, oh, why did you go to the extremes? And that's basically what a toxic fandom is going to that extreme, being a toxic person. And,
for me, sorry, Ileana, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Yeah. For me, when I think of like how extreme like the toxic fandom gets, I think of, to me, it's the Star Wars fans, because they are a very vocal group. And I always go back to 1999 when episode 1 came out, and there was all this excitement and fervor for this film that was going to be coming out. The lines were, miles long in theaters. People were camping out. And once the people saw the movie, they was like, well, it's okay. But one character got so much backlash and hatred, and everybody just like focused on Jar Jar Binks, like he was like the Antichrist himself. Seriously, I've never seen anybody just hate a guy so much. And as a kid, there were kids that loved that character.
Right.
There were kids that had Jar Jar on their shirts and paid no mind. Like, Jar Jar is my homie. But I mean, I've read the stories and interviews of like the actor Ahmed Best who portrayed Jar Jar. For 20 years, he's had that hatred and vitriol follow him. We're like, you ruined my childhood, Jar Jar. You ruined Star Wars. George Lucas, you're evil, and I hate you. I would spit on your guts. If you were on fire, I wouldn't put you out. All these things.
Yeah,
I mean, the story is that Ahmed Best, he contemplated suicide. And this is an actor who put his heart into a role. Granted, it may not have been well received, but that's it. If you're not going to like it, why would you waste your time? These guys, just like, it's just a character in a movie.
Yeah, it's no.
Is that
point
worth
in telling somebody to kill themselves?
Yeah, go kill yourself, Ahmed Best, for Jar Jar Binks. No, man. Hey, I appreciate it. It wasn't the best. That's not your fault. You didn't write the movie. You did the best with what you had. But it's just, I just don't understand how some of these guys, these dudes, I guarantee you 95% of it is these dudes that live in their mother's basements that had nothing else to do.
That and children who have no idea, who shouldn't be on the internet to begin with, that have no idea, like, the magnitude of their words, because they don't know. The person on the other side doesn't know how old this person actually is, and they're just getting these comments telling them, go do this, go do that, you're horrible, and all these hateful other comments, and it really starts to weigh down on people. And even with like YouTubers, I see that a lot, where they're like, I'm getting so much hate for content that I'm putting out, free content for these people, and I'm just like, they have their fandom of people who love them and love to watch anything that they throw out, and then they have maybe one bad episode or one bad video, or say a comment, and all of a sudden these trolls come in and just start attacking them.
Wait a minute. Are you saying there are people right now who might be listening to this on one of our platforms and thinking, oh God, they suck?
That's what I'm thinking.
Isn't that what people think every episode?
Oh my God.
Hey, we wouldn't know because you guys aren't commenting. So leave a comment down below.
Leave a comment down below.
Even
Yeah.
if you're a toxic person, hey, leave it down. We read those. So
true.
I don't know. Being in a fandom, it's like, is it even worth it? Do you even want to go join, this type of fandom? Marvel, do you want to be a part of it? Video games, do you even want to be a part of it? Because either the fandom is cringy or it's toxic.
There's another one too, like, and it's like Mass Effect. When Mass Effect 3 came out, that's another example of fandom gone bad, where the ending of Mass Effect was so discussed and hated for lots of different reasons. Some of it valid, some of this criticism is valid, but they just started to make petitions like, what studio made BioWare? BioWare made Mass Effect. Like, BioWare, you change this ending because this ending is garbage. You go back, spend all the countless hours of manpower and change this ending and get it back to the fans that, because this is garbage. When at the end of the day, this is a game that the studio made. They made these artistic decisions. You don't have to like it, but it's just part of the game, It's one thing, that wasn't how I thought it would end, but it is what it is. It's still a great game.
The one that, as you're speaking, I'm reminded of is Sonic the Hedgehog movie with the artistic
Maybe
choice.
that's good, though, but maybe that's a good...
So
like,
that was a good, healthy... That was a healthy outcry, because you took an iconic character And the artistic choice that they went with in the beginning
Ugh.
was
It was atrocious.
across the board.
A mistake.
It was a mistake,
A
allegedly.
mistake.
Allegedly.
And I don't think that's toxic behavior. I think that is...
It's not. It's you literally took the character that's been around since 1991 or even maybe earlier than that. He has a specific design.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason they skewed it in such a horrible way.
They're like, oh, we're gonna make him realistic, but it didn't work.
That, to me, is a healthy outcry from the fans. Maybe some people took it in the same unhealthy, like, oh, we're gonna slay anyone who watches this movie, and praises this abomination. But at the same time, they, kudos to the industry. They went back and redid it.
Hey man, we're doing you a favor.
Yeah, but
bad.
that was one way that the fandom was like, okay, this is good. But you were talking about Super Smash Brothers earlier, Ileana.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that really bothers me about the fandom is that you have all these DLC characters that have come out, and it's a huge thing when a new fighter is revealed for Smash, because you have all these characters that have such a weighted legacy behind them, and it's like, who is going to be represented next? It doesn't even matter that a character may or may not even be used, or you may not even use this character. It's the weight that character comes
Holds.
with. And so a lot of people get so up in arms when, once again, it's another anime sword wielding character. And it's like, the one guy that makes this game, he had carpal tunnel. He's been pouring oh my gosh, his name just escaped me. He's been pouring his heart into this
Sakurai?
series. Yes, Masahiro Sakurai, that's right.
Masahiro, yeah.
Yes, and he's gotten carpal tunnel, and he pours his heart and soul into these games. You can tell that he's very, very passionate about every single character that they choose. It is calculated. It's not just that they pluck a character out of nowhere. It may seem that way, like with Piranha Plant, but at the same time, Piranha Plant, that's great. It's funny. It's fun. And I think a lot of people lose sight of fun. It's no longer fun.
They all take it too seriously and make it so personal. And it's like, this is not the point of being in a fandom. If being in a fandom is to enjoy it, is to, praise the creators of, their hard work and enjoy something like, oh my goodness, I love Legend of Zelda. I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. I love Lord of the Rings, and maybe there are some aspects of it I don't like, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna go crap on the creators or crap on other people who do like those things. Like, I dislike heavily Legend of Korra. Does that mean, I may crap on it just with my criticism, but that's a criticism, and I'm not telling other people who enjoy those things, go off yourself. That's not how you enjoy something or dislike something. It's not to go be a butthole to other people.
Right. And speaking of Zelda, the voice actress for Breath of the Wild for Zelda, Patricia Summerset, she got so much hate and flack. Like, I'm talking legit threats.
Because they hated her voice.
They hated the way that she portrayed Zelda, because the voice actress herself, she's got a lower pitched voice, and you can tell that she was kind of trying to make her sound like a younger person, like a 16-year-old girl. It's a little bit airy like this, and it's a little overacted. But at the same time, I didn't think it was bad. I actually thought it was very good. I engaged with Zelda in the game because her voice actress did a great job, and the animation was, engaging as well. I got pulled in.
And I'm a person who disliked it, but I'm not gonna be on her Twitter page saying you off yourself. It was horrible. I hate you so much. Just blah 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 blah.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm glad that she's been able to reprise her role in Hyrule Warriors. She's gonna be back in Breath of the Wild 2. And so, I'm glad that a lot of this toxicity doesn't hold weight always. It's just a little sick sometimes.
Yeah, it's just a franchise, all right, people. There's no need to go crazy on anything.
It is a work of fiction, and it is also art. If you don't like it, then you can move on to the next art thing.
That's how I feel with Game of Thrones. Honestly, the finale of Game of Thrones was horrible. I did not like it at all. I thought it ruined the show for me in a lot of ways. But I'm just gonna move on. I'm not gonna do the books. I'm done with the books now. But I'm just gonna move on to something else because.
And that's the mature thing to
that's
do.
It. And I feel like maybe I'd go back to the episodes that I did like and watch from there. But that's it.
It's the immature people who can't handle it and ruin it for everybody else.
Or it's like I'll never watch anything that any of these people ever did again. I'll never watch Kit Harington in a movie or any of these guys. Whatever they do, Pedro Pascal, Mandalorian, he was in Game of Thrones. And but he was great in it. Even though the show didn't end well, I'm not gonna not watch Mandalorian. I'm not gonna watch The Last of Us, or play the game.
That's even. I know this one's maybe not for you guys, but I listen to K-pop, and K-pop has one of the worst, most toxic fandoms ever because there are ever-changing genres within K-pop where you've got a band that or a boy band or whatever. They're very they've got this one style, they're sticking to it. But as the things change, as they get more popular, I say BTS is a very good example of this, where they were very hip hop. R&B at the beginning, and now they're very poppy, very Americanized now, and people are hating on it, sending death threats to these singers and dancers, and it's for what? Because they changed? Well, okay, it's not for you anymore. Listen to the old stuff. Get over it. Get over yourself, basically,
Yeah.
It's so horrible that people, want to do a change on something, and they think they're so entitled to have control over these creators to make them feel a certain way. And it makes them almost, sometimes you'll have the defeat of a person in the creation of they'll never do it again. They'll never create again. The backlash was so horrible to them and their mental health declined that they said, I'm done. And that's what a lot of people do when they get those types of toxic fandoms. They quit and they leave.
And to circle back to Undertale, the creator of Undertale, Toby Fox, he came out with a game that was similar to Undertale, but it's not very clear as to if it's
Deltarune.
It's not a prequel and it's not a sequel. It's very unclear as to what it is in terms of a timeline, if it's even related. But Chapter 1 came out maybe 2 years ago. Deltarune Chapter 1 came out. And I played it, and I loved it. I was like, all right, when's Chapter 2 coming out? Let me tell you what happened to Toby Fox and why Chapter 2 has not come out yet. He is suffering so much burnout-ism, if that is a phrase. That should be a phrase now. Mm-hmm. Because he is so dead set on making a game that is worthy of the fandom and worthy of already his enormous legacy. This one guy did the majority of Undertale. He wrote the music for it, which the
created
music
pretty much the entire game.
Yeah, single-handedly. And so the music for the game is out of this world good. It is so good. You can't go to a middle school without a child singing Megalovania. Every kid knows that song.
Mm-hmm.
And so now he's got this fatigue from trying to keep up with these fans that have such high expectations for this game, he's had to he's come out saying that he's had to quit for a little bit because he needs to focus on his mental health. He also has developed carpal tunnel from staring and working at a computer for hours every single day of his life. This is one guy who he's already had enormous success, and now he's having to reap the consequences of a toxic community. And it's like, why does it have to be this way? I don't understand. And so I think that's what I wanted to just, talk about. If you're a part of a fandom, that's great. It's great to be part of a fandom. I'm a fan of a lot of things. I'm actually looking at my Super Mario cereal box right now and thinking, okay, where is Mario going to go now? He went to the moon in Super Mario Odyssey. Where's he going now? What is going to happen next?
The dark place.
Yeah. Well, he went to the darker side of the moon. I think it's called the
darker side of the moon.
No.
Yeah.
To the downstairs.
I see.
Place.
I see.
Oh,
yeah.
let's no.
Yeah.
He kind of went there in what is it? Nintendo 64, Super Mario, Nintendo 64.
Well, he also it was the middle of the moon and it was all explodey and fiery.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we have, this unknown, and there's always this what's next for XYZ. Pokemon is a huge one. Huge. I think I talked about this before, where Pokemon Sword and Shield came out, and people didn't like it. They didn't like that the national dex was thrown out. They didn't like the art style of where the game was going. They didn't like the textures. But to me, it was a really fun game. Really, really fun game. But you have these people saying, I'll never touch another Pokemon game as long as I live. And it's like, get over it, man. It's a fun game.
Yeah, those people just, they're too serious. They need to take themselves lighter.
Yeah, so...
Be fun. Have some fun with your life. There's no reason to be so serious all
the
time.
Yeah, so there's more fun stuff than Pokemon. Go try that out. So
go actually catch something in real life.
Go stare at a flower, for goodness sake. You guys need it if you're toxic. If you're ones complaining about stuff like that, bro, just go look at a flower for like 10 seconds.
Turn off Fortnite for, a few hours. But, yes, that is our soapbox.
And with that, we are ending episode 31 of Bump That. Next
31?
Yes. Next week on episode 32, we will be discussing, actually, no, not discussing. We're going to be playing a game, a Liar, Liar, Pants on Fire game, Avatar Edition. Brian is going to be writing the questions for us, and it'll be really exciting. We hope to see you in next week's episode, and we thank you guys so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you liked it, if you're watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and leave a comment about some fandoms that you think are toxic. And if you're listening on Spotify, thank you so much for listening on our new platform. We really appreciate it. And we love you guys. And we will see you in next week's episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.